Igama lami uMusa Izulu. Ngingumbhali, artist, and I'm also a motivational speaker. In 1995, I was involved in a car accident which left me paralyzed and in this wheelchair. I remember it was on the 20th of April and it was raining hard that day. I remember with a couple of other bridges, lapha ngaseDurban, were even washed away. And of course, I was 23 years old. New car, new job. Ngasengiqedile university ngoba I graduated for my basic degree in 1991 at the University of Natal. I continued working with them as a junior lecturer and I did my honors, which I finished in 1993. And when the accident happened, I was working for Tongat Mushrooms as senior personnel officer. 23, living a very, very fast life. And I remember that evening, it was raining, but I had really put my foot on it. And the next thing, bang, crashed, moto, and my car landed against a brick wall. And I was finished. I only woke up 3 days later with doctors telling me which I was never going to be able to walk again. You know, I've spent my time thinking, what could I have changed about that night? Accidents happen. Maybe we cannot avoid them. But there is something that I could have avoided. That night I could have worn my seatbelt. But of course I was young, driving my VW, no seatbelt. And I took the impact and I was paralyzed. Maybe if I was wearing my seatbelt that night, and maybe I was not going to be paralyzed, injured in one way or the other, but not as badly as requiring to use the wheelchair for the rest of my life. I wish I could have changed that. I know many people will say to me, well, do you really have to change anything because 17 years after the wheelchair, you're a successful author, a well-renowned artist and all of that. The fact is, disability is not a very easy life to live. You suddenly discover what was Gibeli Debis. You suddenly realize there are places you can no longer go to because they are not accessible. And then you realize interview with that fear that maybe this job is not for people that are in wheelchairs. There's a lot of discrimination and stereotypes against people with a disability. So it's a difficult life. But maybe if I was wearing a seatbelt, I would not be entertaining all of that. There are many young people whose lives are at the height of their potential. Go a seatbelt, you discover that you either die or you are permanently disabled. So what I would like to say to all of you today is, just always remember that your car is as beautiful as it can be, but your car can be replaced. Your life is full of potential and there's so much that you're still going to achieve. And if anything like an accident and you're not wearing your seatbelt were to occur, that life might be destroyed forever.
Do you often wear your seatbelts?
Yeah.
You don't?
No.
Okay, why's that?
I don't know. I don't like to wear it. It feels too uncomfortable. And it like pulls me back. I don't like to wear it.
And when I'm driver, ungahlala kanjani? Ungahlala kanjani nje?
Ngafaka iseatbelt sami still sihlezi straight sami.
Ngempela? Do you wear seatbelts?
Yes, we do.
Okay, why do you wear seatbelts?
Because I don't want to end up on the road in front of my car.
Do you guys wear seatbelts? Just answer yes. How do you wear it all the time?
It's just in the taxi, so no.
No, you don't. Okay, when you're in the back seat of a car, do you wear your seatbelt? No.
Yes.
Do you wear seatbelts at the back seat? In the back seat?
No.
Like, do you know anyone
Who does?
who does? Okay. What do you think about children who are not strapped in?
A disaster waiting to happen.
And what about children who don't wear seatbelts?
It's terrible.
They can die flying through the wind. Like if they're sitting in the middle, they can fly through the windscreen.
Okay, when we are going seatbelt,
Yes.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, but uma ngicela ayigqoke ngigqoke. Yami ngihamba nayo ya.
and when asisi,
Yeah, ngiyayigqoka kodwa angigqoki njalo.
yini ndaba ungayigqoki sonke isikhathi?
Ezinye mina ngijwayele ukuhamba ngama-taxi ke amanye ama-taxi anawo ama-seatbelt. So yeah, so elingekho ke so ngingagqoki ngoba lingekho.
Okay, kwi-back seat niyagqoka i-seatbelt?
No, awekho.
Okay, why do you wear your seatbelt?
Because the cops will catch you and fine you if you don't.
Is that the only reason you wear the seatbelt? When we are going seatbelt?
Yeah.
Gqoka sonke isikhathi?
Sonke isikhathi.
Eteksini uyagqoka?
No, eteksini angigqoki. Mangigibela imoto yasekhaya encane ngiyayigqoka.
Okay, why ungayigqoki eteksini?
Awekho.
Awekho?
Awekho.
Oh, alright.
Unless mangihleli ngaphambili.
Oh, alright.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ndlovu. I work for Accident and Emergency at St. Anne's Emergency Center in Pietermaritzburg. I usually see a lot of trauma patients being in the front line of an emergency unit. Almost all emergency patients or trauma patients come to our unit. And the patients that we see commonly are the ones who are involved in car accidents, and the injuries that we most commonly see are the patients who are usually not wearing their seatbelt. And we feel that some of those injuries could have been prevented had the patient been wearing a seatbelt. The ones that come through who survive the accident, even though they're not wearing their seatbelt, they will come with injuries ranging from severe head trauma, severe neck injuries. Some of them have multiple rib fractures, and from an injury from injuries related to motor vehicle accident and not wearing your seatbelt, you can sustain severe abdominal trauma where you can actually end up with rupture of your internal organs, and the most severe injuries will involve your pelvic fractures. That's a major injury as well. Over and above that, I did mention that you can have a cervical spine injury that can actually go all the way down, involving your thoracic spine and your lumbar spine. That will not only be the bones involved, you can end up with a spinal cord injury and end up being paralyzed. This is not something that I'm just saying, but it's things that I've actually seen. Patients coming in already paralyzed just because of a cervical neck injury, and then you find out that they were not wearing their seatbelt. A child is a small person, they've got a tiny little body. The minute they are ejected off the vehicle, they can lose their life instantly or actually sustain multiple injuries in comparison to an adult, their injuries are 10 times more worse. So it is very important for a person who is operating a motor vehicle to have their seatbelt on at all times to prevent serious injuries. Not to say if you are wearing your seatbelt you are not going to sustain injuries, but they are far much less than a person who's not wearing their seatbelt. So the bottom line is, every time you enter your vehicle, put on a seatbelt, because that can save lives, that can prevent serious injuries.
To shed this skin, I won't rest uneasy tonight, 'cause my fear went out with the bedside light, and I'll dream of those who love me so.
Wear your seatbelts.
Wear your seatbelts. Wear your seatbelts.
Wear your seatbelts.
And nengane zenu vele nazithanda nizenze ukuthi zibe safe. Always bafethu khumbulani ukuthi mongena emotweni kumele ube safe, ushayele kahle emgaqweni. Sure.
So no need taking chances with your life. Wear that seatbelt. Make it a habit to wear that seatbelt, because that habit will save your life. Teach your children the same, because they're also going to be growing up in cars and growing up to drive cars. Let's all make it a culture in South Africa and the whole world to wear that seatbelt, because it only makes sense.
As part of the International Decade of Action for Road Safety, we're asking every single person to get involved to help stop unnecessary deaths and injuries. So drivers, making sure that every single passenger in the vehicle in the front and the back is buckled up. So especially in the event of a crash, nobody moves around the car and injures other people or is flung out of the car. For officers and government departments to make a policy that is very strictly enforced, that all drivers and passengers are buckled up at all times. And then for the children out there, you've seen the DVD, you've seen how important it is to wear seatbelts. So if a seatbelt is available, please buckle up, and then also tell your parents or other adults in the car why you are doing that and why it is so important.